What is going on, my beautiful people? I love you all. Welcome to episode 10 of the PB Theory series. PB Theory 3. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about SMTs. Everyone has been commenting, can you please make a video on SMTs? Dude, I'm getting to everything. All right. And the one thing I won't do, though, is make videos on shit that I don't really use. SMTs, I do in fact use those. So we'll be making a video on that. But don't expect order block bullshit, CISD bullshit. Don't expect anything that I don't use. All right. I'm teaching you exactly everything I know about trading. Well, everything that I know and utilize, and showing you exactly how you can use it. Like I said in the beginning of the series, the way I will teach you these concepts is most likely not how the majority of people use them. Same way when I talked about liquidity in my liquidity video, that's not really the traditional way that people look for liquidity sweeps and all that. And I'm going to do something very similar with SMTs today. You're going to be thinking like, what the fuck? Okay, I didn't know you could do that. So let's get into that. Let's just get right into it. Starting off with what is an SMT? Well, an SMT is when a asset takes a high or a low while the other asset doesn't. And what does that look like? Let's say we're on NQ and we're looking to target a high, this high specifically. And then we look over at ES and we see that ES takes the high, but NQ is still behind. That creates an SMT. And an SMT is a divergence in these assets, indicating that now that ES has taken this high, NQ doesn't have to anymore. It doesn't require NQ to go for this anymore if that was a level that NQ was seeking. Now we don't have to hit it because ES has taken it. And why is ES and NQ so significant as pairs? Because they are correlated assets. And so every time we look for SMTs, we use both NQ and ES. Personally, and this is what I recommend you do because you are learning from me right now and you want to trade the way I trade. I only execute on NQ and I always look for my SMTs on ES. I am not chronically looking for SMTs. I do not use SMT indicators, any of that. But it is very important that I am aware of what ES is doing at almost all times in order to make sure that if I am targeting something, there's not an SMT there. If I'm looking for NQ to trade to a level to take a trade, that I make sure that ES hasn't hit it yet or has hit it, and then I can take my trade. And so let's get into that. First thing is internal SMTs. So an internal SMT, the way it works is, let's say you have everything that you want to see in a setup, right? We have like a pullback into our key level, all that, and then price trades up. And let's say we don't get an entry here, but then price comes down and creates an SMT at this low. How do we know we've created an SMT at this low? Because we look over at ES and we see that ES has taken out this internal low right here, right? And so what this means is the only way you should think about this is, well, NQ doesn't have to resweep this low, because normally I wouldn't take an entry, if we're just like on top of a low like this, it doesn't really make sense. But if I see that there's an SMT there, then I'm not expecting NQ to have to sweep this low anymore. And so that tells me, well, I can take the trade off this leg. This is my new, this is the leg that I'm looking at now. And if there's an inversion opportunity here, I'm willing to take it. And as far as stop loss placement goes, which is something I get asked a ton, when there's an SMT in play, just make sure you're utilizing the entire leg, pretty much like the bottom of that leg. I'm not putting my stop loss at this low where like, the SMT is, but I'm saying, well, the SMT is technically here, right? But I'm not utilizing this leg. I'm just using this leg to its full potential, which is all the way down to the low here. And obviously I don't care. I'm not trading on ES, so that doesn't matter. And yeah, so this pretty much, what this means to me is literally as simple as, okay, NQ doesn't have to resweep that low despite trading close to it because there's an SMT there. Does that mean that the trade is better? Not necessarily. Maybe you get like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5% better chance of your trade hitting. But an SMT doesn't make the trade idea better. Let's say that both NQ and ES took this low and there was no SMT, but we get a sweep on both assets. Does that mean that this trade is not as good as a previous one? Absolutely not. That is such a strong misconception, or at least I see it that way, where SMT is mandatory for a trade to play out better, where you need an SMT for a certain model. That's bullshit. And SMT is an extra confluence. It is something that you just want to be conscious of all the time because you don't want to be waiting for NQ, let's say, to hit a 1 hour bullish fair value gap below you so you can take longs, and then you don't realize that ES has already hit it, right? That's how you need to think about SMTs. It's just like, it's awareness. It's just awareness of what's happening, okay? It's awareness of what's happening. It's like a shadow clone jutsu, bro. It's literally a shadow clone jutsu, all right? You know, you send another clone to go fight someone. If your clone takes out that guy, you don't got to go and take him out too now. You know what I'm saying? Like, your boy got it. Your boy got it. Think of it like that. ES and NQ are homies. They're friends. They work together. So if they're both doing what has to be done, they're both taking out a high, they're both taking out a low, good. That's just as good. You know, both you and your homie both beat the fuck out of someone. Whoa. I'm going to cut that out because that's probably going to... Okay. But you and your friend both... You know what I mean? Both got him. And that's good. That's good. That's what's up. Now, something that probably doesn't get spoken about a lot or anywhere, fair value gap SMT. I personally look for fair value gap SMTs. What do I mean by this? A very strong example of how I use fair value gap SMT is, let's say I'm in a long and I'm targeting an unfilled 5 or 15 minute fair value gap, right? As I explained in the fair value gap video. So I hope you're watching all these videos. And then I look over at ES and I see, oh, frick, ES already hit that 5 and 15 minute gap. What do? I close the trade. It's the same thing as NQ taking out that high. Dude, my freaking underwear is a bit uncomfy right now. It's the same thing as NQ taking out that high. High, what? Yes, NQ doesn't need to go to this level anymore because ES has already completed the objective. Your shadow clone jutsu did it, bro. Your shadow clone jutsu did it. Okay? So in this case, you know, if I have at least 1-on-1 RR, I would just close this trade. And if I didn't have 1-on-1 yet, well, I would just make sure I'm break even and see if I can get about 1-on-1. Obviously in this example, I would have 1-on-1, so I would just close this trade. But yeah, that's another example. Now what's something else? This is what I was talking about just 2, 10, 5, 9, 11, 12 seconds ago. Higher time frame fair value gap SMT. And that means, right? Let's say we're going into the morning. We're on NQ and we see there's a 1 hour bullish fair value gap below. That would be beautiful to hit so we can take longs. I look over at John and I say, hey, John, we need the 1 hour fair value gap to hit if we want to take the absolute greatest longs on the planet. And John looks at me and goes, no, we actually don't need to hit. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. ES already did it for us. We can take longs. We're ready. We are ready. We have the green light because ES gave us the green light. And if you watch the fair value gap video, you know that this is a key level for me on the higher time frame. This is the foundation of my trade, right? So if I'm looking to take longs, ideally I'd want to see us bouncing off something like this if we're taking like a counter trend long. And yeah, if ES hits it, while NQ is behind, you don't expect NQ to go back down there because ES has done it. ES has done it. Now, lower time frame for fair value gap SMTs. Let's say we're just looking to take basic longs off like a 5 or 15 minute fair value gap, right? And we see that NQ is trading up here. We have yet to hit this 5 or 15 minute fair value gap, but ES has hit it. Well, great. Now we don't have to wait for NQ to hit it, and we can just take whatever trade we're going to take here. Without worrying about NQ going lower. Is it possible that NQ ends up going lower and ends up hitting it? Yes, but does it have to anymore? No, because it's technically already been balanced by ES. So that's how I want you to think about it, right? Not only do I use SMTs in the sense of highs and lows, but also fair value gaps, like fair value gaps getting tapped, and all that, right? I use it in all those aspects. Is it, like I said, is it mandatory that I need an SMT in my trade? Absolutely not. My trade idea doesn't require an SMT at all. But if there's one there, then that means that I don't have to be looking for something in specific to happen on NQ because it has already happened on ES. That is all that it tells me. You guys understand what I'm saying? You guys understand what I'm saying? Or did I overload your brain with information? Did I overload your brain with information? Someone make an edit of that. That shit was tough. And now I'm going to do my favorite part, which I think I'm going to do for every single episode because you guys said, damn, bro, I love the fact that you backtested and showed us exactly what you're on about. We're going to do that again. We're going to do that again. I'm going to hop on the back testing right the hell now. Right the hell now. So let's get into that. Bang, 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 bang. Now we are back testing. Leaving off exactly in the session where we were last time. Dude, hold up, fam. God, bro. Fucking. All right. Jesus. Where's my velo? Right here. Sip. That's gonna be sip. There we go. Shout out my brother. Love that man. Let's get her goner. Okay, so let's start off. Well, let's go into a new session. Let's start from scratch. Bang. Go to next day open. Okay, so let's go here, right? Market's about to open up in 15 minutes. Let's go in the higher time frame and see what we're working with. Okay. So here right now, I'm not seeing anything too significant, right? I know that ES is trading a bit higher. Sure, it's like inside a fair value gap more above, but it doesn't matter because I have all the confluences I need to short on NQ. So everything looks good for me on NQ. Doesn't look like I really need any SMTs. We took out this high. We took out this intermediate high. I could see shorts off here. ES is also trading inside a bearish gap. So nothing to overthink here. Shorts could be good. And yeah, for right now, we'll just say that. Now let's go and wait for market open. Bang, 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 bang. All right, we trade lower. So market opens lower. Let's go on the 5-minute chart, the 15-minute chart. Okay, what do I notice? They're pretty correlated today. Doesn't seem like ES is doing something NQ isn't. I mean, I can see that NQ is trading lower than ES. So theoretically, yeah, there's an SMT at this low, but that's not what it's not that serious to me. It's not that serious to me. Because if NQ is showing me what I want to see, then I don't even care if there's an SMT until I enter a trade and, you know, we're targeting something. But for now, everything looks good. I could take longs around this area if I get good structure, which looks like we have decent structure. Not my favorite, but if we start getting longs here, it could be good. Okay. It would have to be a 2-minute. Oh, fuck. Did I miss the entry? No, that was not an entry. 4 or 5. Okay, there's an unfilled 5-minute above. Unfilled 5-minute above. This one's a bit tricky, right? Because the way I have to see it here is, let's say I wanted to take longs and target this unfilled 5-minute. ES is already inside one, which makes it awkward. But it's not that exact same gap pretty much. And it looks like it will be displacing up to here, but that's just more of a guess. So maybe it's not the best trade to use as an example. On NQ, we took out these lows. Right, so we took out this intermediate low, which is something I'd love to see. Okay, and we have an SMT at this low, which gives me decent confidence. Hit this hourly gap. This is a perfect example. So as you can see, NQ traded lower here, and we swept out this low inside the fair value gap. I talked about this in the fair value gap video. If I look at ES isn't rejecting off of anything and anything bullish, right? So if you were looking at ES right now, you'd be thinking, oh, but why would we long? We're not rejecting off anything bullish. Well, NQ is rejecting this, so that's good. I don't need ES to go lower. That's the point, right? And so now I go here, and I'm thinking, okay, highest time frame for value up entry on this leg is going to be the 2-minute, which is right now at this close. Awesome. I can go into my long, and then I would target this 5-minute, right? Something like this. It's kind of a scuffed entry, I will say. So you would go break even fast here. And as far as SMTs, let's just look at this 15-minute, for example. This is how I would do it. Once ES hits this 15-minute, I want to go break even, or if NQ hits this 5-minute. That's kind of how I'm thinking here. This is a bit more discretionary, but you guys want me to show you really how I think in an authentic and raw way. So let's just do that, right? So I would enter longs here. Once we hit that 5-minute, I'll go break even. Let's go forward. Okay, break even. And ES has also hit this 15-minute. So I shouldn't expect NQ to go up to this 15-minute anymore because now there's a fair value gap SMT, right? There's a fair value gap SMT. ES has already rebalanced this 15-minute above. So if I was thinking in my head, oh, I want to see NQ hit this 15-minute, well, now I shouldn't think that anymore because ES has already hit it. And so now I really just want to make sure that I'm TPing at 1-to-1, which would be about 49.25. So right here, if I could get a TP, that'd be great. So in this case, I'd have to just hope for a slightly better push, and it seems like we got it. Awesome, cool. So that was like an example of, well, they both ended up hitting the same levels and stuff, but NQ did have an SMT as far as like this fair value gap, this hourly gap. We ended up trading down to here, sweeping this low. And so if we look at ES, we have an SMT at this low, which gives me good confidence, but it's not mandatory. So that's kind of how I thought about it there. I'd say nothing too crazy. Let's go to a different session and see if we can get something a bit more like cleaner or obvious in terms of SMT and showcasing how I use it. So let's go on the hourly time frame here and see what we're working with. Okay, so this could be interesting. So on ES, 4 hour. Okay, so let's look at this for example. On NQ has already tapped into this 4 hour bearish fair value gap, while ES hasn't. So if I wanted to take shorts, I don't have to wait for ES to hit that 4 hour because I know that NQ has hit it. So let's think about it that way. Let's see what the market does here. Okay, price ends up ripping higher. Nice, whatever. So that tells me that we're pretty bullish. Now NQ has hit this hourly bearish gap up here, so I don't need ES to hit it up here. We have a fair value gap SMT up there. My main focus is NASDAQ here. So I know NASDAQ is in a good position to short at any time if we get good structure, and if we don't, whatever. And if we continue getting really bullish price action, I can debate some continuation longs. So let's see. Okay, now let's look at another example like this. We have a 5-minute below. So if I wanted to take continuation longs and ES hits the 5-minute gap before NQ, then I can just use ES as reference. That's kind of how I'm utilizing SMTs here. Anyways, NQ ends up hitting it without ES, which means I don't expect ES to go down to this 5-minute. I don't have to expect ES to go down to this 5-minute anymore because we have a fair value gap SMT there. And I have, whatever. I can pretty much long now at any given point if I wanted to. Seems like the highest time from here is this 2-minute. Has it closed yet? I think there's 1 minute till it closes though. So, I mean, let's say I wanted a long here, right? Would I be worried that there's an unfilled 5-minute gap below on ES? Not necessarily. But what I want to pay attention to if I'm taking this long, that once ES takes this high, I want to be break even if NQ hasn't hit that high yet, right? So now this is what I'm going to be focusing on. Is there an SMT at my target? So let's say I took like a long here. I don't know if the 2-minute has closed. Honestly, I'm always bad with this. Okay, so it did. Fuck. Well, that would have been a winning trade, right? But you understood that. So not only did we have a fair value gap here, really the only thing that we had was a fair value gap SMT at this 5-minute. So I didn't have to expect ES to trade lower if I wanted to take continuations. And price just ends up ripping higher, and they both take the high at the same time. Now let's say I wanted to take shorts. Do I need an SMT at this high to take shorts? No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. Let's see what structure forms now going forward. So we might get like good short structure, I think. Oh, this looks super choppy. Let's go to like a next day open. Okay, let's see what we have working with here. Hourly chart. On the hourly chart, they're very correlated. We see that both have taken that high. So that's good. Are we bouncing off anything in the higher time frame? 4 hour. Yeah, we're inside a 4 hour gap all the way to the left. NQ has hit this 4 hour gap below. So has ES. Cool. Let's just see what market open does here. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, market open. And we start getting some delivery lower. Now let's go here. Doesn't seem like any of them are rejecting anything. Anything on the 5 minutes. So there's no like SMTs above here. Like someone would say, look at something like this high, and be like, oh, there's an SMT at this high. But like that high isn't inside anything significant. So I don't really care that there's an SMT there. So that's not something I'm paying attention to. So I'll just let price action play out. And okay, we end up sweeping this low. This looks like a way better example. So we end up sweeping this low, and now we have an SMT at this low. Awesome. So if I was an ES trader, I could long now because I don't need ES to sweep this low because I know NQ has swept it for me, and we're bouncing off a 5 and 15-minute gap here, right? So NQ has hit this unfilled 15-minute gap while ES is trading higher. So I don't need ES to trade lower. Cool. There's a fair value gap SMT there. And now let's see if we can find like a long entry of some sort. All right, so we have an SMT at this low. Let's say you were an ES trader in this case. Cool, whatever. Okay, seems like we're getting long opportunity here. Stop loss. I use like the body. Usually with SMTs, I say like go full wick. So I guess for the sake of this, we'll just do full wick. And I believe this day, if I remember correctly, we ended up edging this high. But let's just see what happens here. And so in this case, I just want to make sure that ES doesn't take my target before me. Let's play price forward. Okay. Yeah, this was the day that I remember NQ ended up edging this high. And so really nothing significant happens here. This is just total bullshit day. Let's move forward. Let's keep going. Nothing significant. Okay, they're both pretty correlated, but this is like a good sign. Okay, so now let's say I wanted a long around here, and I go on the hourly chart. I see that this is something more interesting. I want you to pay attention here. So now when we get something like this, where I'm thinking, okay, damn, you know, ES is exponentially lower than NQ now, and it seems like it's ripping really low. I want to use ES as a guide in this case, and now I have to think, where does ES want to go? Why is it going lower with so much volume and you know, volatility, whatever? Where would it want to go? And it looks like it has this unfilled 4-hour below. So this is what I want to pay attention to now. This is how I use ES as my guide. And so in this case, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait until ES hits this 4-hour gap, because that's where it looks like it wants to go. And once ES hits that gap, I know NQ would be in a good position to the long. And so I wait. Bang. ES has now hit that 4-hour gap. What does that tell me? That tells me that even though NQ hasn't taken out this low yet, ES is inside this 4-hour gap. So some people might be on NQ thinking, I'm not going to long until this low gets taken. While I'm thinking, well, ES already rebalanced this level. ES is inside a higher time from key level. So if I wanted a long, it would be valid. And so like anywhere around here could be like a decent long. And it looks like NQ ends up taking it too. And does that mean that SMT got invalidated? No, it just means that both assets have taken out the same key level and are trading at a good spot to long. And so you could look for like a long at anywhere in this area, but it doesn't really look like there's good structure to be longing. So if you've seen my structure video, you know, it's probably something that you would consider. But now let's see this. Ooh, this is good. Perfect. This is a really good example. And so now we're both inside this 4-hour gap. We know we're in a good position to long. We look over here and we see that we have this internal SMT. And so if SMTs give you more confidence, then you can just use it as that. Okay, awesome. We have an SMT at this internal low after we've hit that higher time from key level. So this makes me feel good about longs. I don't expect ES to trade lower. I'll tell you were an ES trader, you could long from just right here. And if you're a NQ trader, then obviously, you know, well, there's an SMT at this low. I want to make sure I'm using this leg. And all I want to pay attention to here is once we take out this high, whether it's ES or NQ first, right, that I'm break even or taking profits. And so that's how I'm going to be using the charts here now for SMTs. And so let's see what happens. Whichever one takes this high first. I'm an NQ trader, so I'm focusing on NQ. I'm watching price. Seems like NQ takes it first. Cool. So let's say you were in this trade on ES. You want to be at least break even because we have taken out this high, and you know, try to get a 1-on-1 before taking profits. In the case of NQ, we got NQ to hit it first, which is great. This is a nice thing to see when when you're the lagging pair, which means you're the pair that didn't take out the low or the high. Usually you deliver faster. but this is more like an anomaly where not only does NQ have the better positioning because we're trading lower for longs, therefore the target is further away, but NQ ends up delivering faster than ES, which is just something great to see, because usually if we were in this position, ES would normally take out this high first before NQ, and we'd have to go early break even or early TP. But in this case, yeah, NQ does all the damage, which is sick. And now you can take profits on ES because it has hit 1-to-1. Beautiful. Now let's see if there's anything else I can refer to here. Going into 11, probably just going to start chopping, so I don't really care about this. But that was like a nice internal SMT. And yeah, let's move on to the next day. SMTs are low-key like just, they're like a confidence booster, right? Because if you see that ES, if that price is rejecting after this SMT and we're getting strong delivery, it should just make you feel good about it. But like I say, it's not a requirement. So hopefully you're noticing how simple I go about SMTs. But let's see the next day here. Let's go on the hourly chart, and I see they're pretty correlated right now. Nothing too significant, but I do see that ES traded lower and hit this bullish gap, which means if I wanted to take longs, we are bouncing off a key level on ES. But let's just wait for price to play out here. 930. Okay, cool. I go on NQ. I see that NQ isn't bouncing off of anything, but what do I see on ES? This is good. This is good. I like this. I feel like this could be a good example. Hopefully we get something out of this. I see that ES is bouncing off this hourly gap, while someone looking at NQ who trades NQ sees, oh, well, NQ isn't inside anything significant. We're probably going for these lows. While I'm thinking, well, I don't really think we need to go for these lows on NQ because ES could reject this hourly gap right here. So go on NQ and see if we get any structure to long. Okay, awesome. We get some structure right here. We can take like an early long off this leg right here on the 1 minute. And all I want to pay attention to is, let's say, this high right here. And so whichever asset takes this high first, you know, then let's say ES takes this high first, then I would go break even earlier on NQ because there's an SMT there. So let's see what happens. Price delivers up. Oh, fuck. Did we bounce off a 5 minute there? Oh, shit, we did. Okay, so that was my fault. In this case, we had an unfilled we had this 5 minute gap right here. So once we traded into that, you should have been break even. So this would end up being a break even trade pretty much, right? There's both a 5 minute on both pairs here. And if you watch the Fair Value Gap video, you know you need to be break even once an unfilled 5 or 15 minute gap gets traded towards. And yeah, hold up. I need to shit so bad. Alrighty, I'm back from my little shit break. And now time to get back to this. So far, I haven't like shown the, it's not that I've not shown the best examples, but it just goes to show genuinely like, I don't really care about SMTs that much. But yeah, let's see here. Frick, man. Okay, so now let's say something like this. Let's say I wanted a long. The next key level that I could see price bouncing off of is like this unfilled 4 hour below, which would be when price sweeps this low on ES. So first want to do that. Then I know I'm ready to long, which it looks like ES is trading closer. So let's see if anything happens here. Are we bouncing off anything? Bouncing off anything? No, not bouncing off anything in either, so I can't be longing this shit, unfortunately. Can we can we short towards this? This could be interesting. Let's see. Yeah, this could be a short. So this is a good example right here. I like this. Why do I like this? Because this is a perfect example of continuation shorts, and this is how I would play something like this. Let's say I was taking shorts right here, stop loss at this high. I'm aiming for about like a 1-to-1 here. And let's say I have this internal low right here, right? I want to make sure that I'm break even whenever ES hits this. It looks like ES is going to hit this low first, so I want to be break even there. What's happening here? We're bouncing off this unfilled 5 minute right here. ES isn't bouncing off of anything, but NQ is bouncing off the 5 minute, right? So I don't need ES to be bouncing off of anything. So let's say you were executing on ES, for example, and you were thinking, damn, well, like, what am I bouncing off on ES? Well, if you look at NQ, you're bouncing off this 5 minutes. So you could just use that as reference, but let's go into this trade and see, all right, once one of these assets take this low, I want to be break even. So let's see. Oh, wait, the 5 minute hasn't even closed. Nah, seems like we haven't even inversed. Yeah, we haven't inversed yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. Ooh, maybe there's another opportunity right here. Like the 1 minute, 30 second. No fair value gaps inverse. Back to the 5 minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck. All right, right here. Fuck. All right. So let's look at something like this, for example. This is pretty funny. But let's say we were taking shorts and we were targeting like this 4-hour gap, whatever. Obviously, you know, we need 101, so let's just assume like around here. And like I marked out both these key levels on I'm stuttering. Lock in. Marked both of these key levels on the higher time frame for ES and NQ, which is this 4-hour gap and then the 4-hour swing low on ES, right? And so now I want to pay attention to whoever takes it first, which here, first thing I notice is ES has already taken out this low. So I want to be break even. And now that price has hit the 4-hour gap on NQ, I want to be taking profits once I have 101, which looks like around right here. So let's see if we get that. And we get it, and we get it on both. Okay, cool. They both hit the key level. Fuck's sake, bro. It seems like the assets are super correlated nowadays. But I hope you're still understanding the point that I'm getting after. Okay, so now we both took this. Cool. There's no SMT at these lows. And, well, I'm not going to trade past 11 because that's for idiots. Let's go to next day. Fuck. Sorry, guys. Need to find better examples. Go to the hourly time frame here. What do I see? Don't see anything right now that's very significant. Let's wait for market to open and give us some more structure. Okay, market opens. And now let's bomboclat. So now let's say okay, we have this like 5 minute gap right here. Cool. If ES hits this first, then we're gonna have an SMT at this low, right? That's the same time frame low, as you can see. This low are the same. And so then price hits this low. What does that mean? Now we have an SMT at this low. Cool. ES doesn't have to go back down there. Could I take longs off here? Yeah, if presented. If not, then not taking longs. So then I see here, cool. SMT still holding, and I just missed a fucking entry. It's all good. Let's say we took longs right here off this inverse of this candle, and we're targeting this high. Well, first one to take that high means if there's an SMT at this high, I'm gonna have to TP early. So I'm gonna be paying attention to ES, see if ES takes out this high before me. I don't know. NQ takes out the high. So in this case, I freaking don't even need to look at ES, right? But if it gives you more confidence that there's an SMT because NQ traded lower and there's an SMT at this low, if that gives you more confidence, and you know, whatever. But now let's keep looking. Now we know that there's an SMT at the high. Let's say we wanted to take shorts and you were on ES. Well, now you don't need ES to trade up to that high because there's an SMT at that high. So that's how I would look at it. And let's say we were taking shorts here. For some fucking reason, we were taking shorts here, right? And we were going to go break even at this low. Well, if ES hits the low first before NQ, then I would have to go break even early. So in this case, NQ hits it anyways. Cool, whatever. No shot price goes that low. Yeah, so you just got break even. Okay, let's use this as an example. Finally, ES takes this high, right? Or let's say this major high up here. As you can see, ES has taken that high. So there's an SMT at this high. So if I wanted to short, let's say I wanted to short back here from this low, from this inversion Put my stop loss up here. Now when I target this low, well, for one, I know that this high is a good high to be shorting off of because ES had just swept out that major high. And so there's an SMT up there. And that means I can short pretty much. As far as targets go, well, you know, NQ looks like it's going to take the targets before ES anyways. But yeah. So now, let's see. Now we have an SMT at the low. Okay. Holy shit. Now we have an SMT at the low. NQ has hit that unfilled 5-minute below. There's no structure to be longing, so fuck this. All right, well, I low-key tried. I mean, I showed you exactly how I think of SMTs. Usually, I don't really pay attention to the fact. It's just like I'm looking to see if ES is bouncing off a key level that maybe NQ hasn't hit yet, or if ES has hit my target before NQ. And since I'm doing everything on NQ, the main focus that I have is if I'm waiting for NQ to hit a certain level, has ES already hit it? Therefore, I don't need to look for NQ to hit it. And if I'm in a trade and I'm looking to target a certain high or certain for value gap, has ES already hit it? Therefore, meaning I have to go break even early or TP early. If the answer is yes, and obviously, like I said, you have to go break even early or TP early, blah, blah, blah. And that's pretty much how I use SMTs. And yeah, I mean, at least hopefully you learned something. I just went over January price action and like the last week of data, try to use like obviously current price action for reference. It was a bit rough to show my explanations live because the thing is NQ and ES are very correlated assets. So there's going to be months where SMTs aren't that common, while other months they are because they're more uncorrelated. So yeah, I mean, I really tried my best here to show you how I think of SMTs. Hopefully that made sense and it wasn't confusing. As you can see though, it wasn't like the most prominent factor in my model and how I trade and how I see the markets. I go about things how I normally do with NQ, you know, very casually, but I'm still have ES lingering on the side, just making sure that my targets haven't been hit without me knowing, because of ES. Hopefully that made sense. Sorry, that was so freaking confusing. If it was confusing, let me get into the song of the video. Someone commented, just play your favorite song.
Everyone seems a damn genius lately. TikTok talking, late night TV. Still so much I have yet to know. Get dressed up just to go downtown in some ego-filled late night crowd. It seems silly where I feel most alone. I like to get lost on some old back road, find a shade tree and a honey hole, talk to my grandma again. And I see God in everything, the trees in pain and nights in spring. Why do I still long for home? I like to lay in the field on a cozy blanket, feel the fear of never waking, know the true warmth of the sun. I like to love my lady long and hard and lay down lines of playing guitar, never leave her loving arms again. My exes hate me and my friends all miss me. I wanna drown the rock of whiskey, leave this small town for a while. Head to Paris on a late night flight, find a bar, get in a fight, write a few poems on a sunny balcony. I wanna be a child, climb a tree somewhere, breathing in the fresh outside air. Before I knew this life was unkind, I want a well-trained dog on a couple of acres, a kind lady and a place to take her, a few good friends I can count on one of my hands. I know I'm bound to die one day, so when I reach those golden gates, pray I say I did the best I can. So let me go down the line, let me feel it all, joy, pain, and sky. So let me go, fuck, down the line. We all burn, burn, burn.